Age of Imperialism is a mod whose action is happening in a world where the First World War did not take place. Instead, there was a series of local wars which influenced the global geopolitical sphere, establishing the position of Great Britain, Germany, and Russia as the dominant imperialist of the world, forced the US to resign from isolationism, led to the weakness and chaos in France and Austria, and contributed to the strengthening and the influence of the Kingdom of Italy or creating the Balkan Federation. Okay, there we go. So, let's hop in as Italy. The Kingdom of Italy is an inspiring world power which has in recent years managed to establish itself both in the Mediterranean and beyond. The Italian army, the Air Force, and most importantly, the Navy seem to be setting world standards, but unfortunately, internal problems prevent the kingdom from achieving its goals. Organized crime, social injustice, and flawed democracy seem to be tremendously damaging the kingdom, rendering it incapable of fulfilling its aspirations. It should be the Kingdom of Italy's intention to end this unfortunate fragment of history. So we got an empire, we got a king, ambitions, and the mafia. Oh my god, the Balkan Federation. Austria. Russia is like teal. We got Qing China. Japan. I think the Germans still own this. Yep, German Asia. Got the US. They kept Herbert for some stupid reason. What the hell is going on here? Got the Canada, the British, French Republic. I don't know why Portugal looks like this. Morocco. Okay. Well, here we are. Ethiopia still exists, but, the map looks very different, but I kind of like it. Research enabled 5 fuel silos. Okay. Age of Imperialism dev announcement. Welcome to the Age of Imperialism mod, telling a story about a world where the Great War did not take place. Many problems were solved in a much less bloody way, and the world itself seems to be much more stable. The question is for how long? Invite you to our Discord. There's the link, blah, yada, yada. Okay. Whoa, okay. I'm getting a lot of Red Flood vibes just from the design of everything. New colony project. King is dead. Liberals or cooperativism. Tripartite enters the world stage. Interesting. Friendship with Germany. The military. Okay. Oh, this song's a banger. Well, the king's not dead yet, I don't think. So we can do the... What can I do first? The colors are kind of throwing me off. I think the only thing I can do right now is work on the colony. Yeah, I can't even do anything with the military, so we'll just work on the colony first. New colony development program. The recently crushed uprising in Libya has made us realize that we need to show more interest in our overseas territories. Okay. Well, let me just grab all my divisions. Oh my god, we own freaking, we own the Balearics. That's crazy. Oh, we also own the Tunisian area. That's interesting. Why can my generals only have 16 divisions in them? Hello? Okay. Let's start some research. Okay, we're gonna make sure we do the production this time. I'm not gonna be stupid. We're actually gonna make sure we get the research done. Wait. Camouflage, engines, and more. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We have basic uniforms in this mod. I'm scared. Let's see. Let's get some fighter ones. Gonna try and make a competent Air Force this game. We have the ability to have oil, so I'm going to do my best to take advantage of that. I own Madagascar? Why? I apparently won some war with the French, and I'm not even sure how the Italians managed to do that. I feel like we'll probably be at war with Ethiopia, so I'm just gonna get my divisions ready.
Pronto, signore. Comandi. Attento.
Basic uniform. The experience of recent years allowed us to develop a proper view of what a soldier's uniform and basic equipment should look like. It's time to put theory into practice. And then we can research better ones. Apparently the Italians in this universe managed to take Madagascar and the Tunisian area from the French, but we didn't have any uniforms. I don't understand how that's even possible. Okay, here's our readout. Maybe this will explain things. The Kingdom of Italy has probably the most complex situation among all countries in the world. The Italians have the strongest army and fleet of the Mediterranean and are ready at any time to fight evenly with the other states operating in the region, including Great Britain. This exceptionally beneficial situation became possible due to wars with the Austrians and Ottomans, which resulted in significant territorial and monetary gains, successful buyouts of French colonies, and friendly relations with Russia. All of this became the basis for Italian imperialism. Unfortunately, the internal situation of the kingdom is not even a bit as good as the external situation. Corruption, inevitably associated with the mafia, seems to be dominating the Italian administration. Many politicians have contacts with numerous criminal groups, which in many places seem to be true rulers of the country. The terrible situation has a very negative impact on the kingdom, and the status quo achieved in this way makes it impossible to carry out reforms that seem to be more and more needed, especially since the divisions between the rich north and the poor south of the country have only deepened in recent years. The aforementioned friendship with Russia, in turn, deteriorated over time due to conflicts of interest regarding the spheres of influence in the Balkans and the issue of Greece. As a result, Italy has lost its main ally and is forced to seek a new ally in the international arena. To all this, there is also a crisis with the papacy, which already plays the role of the icing of the cake of chaos, which is cutting Italy from the inside. Black clouds are gathering over the Apennine Peninsula, but the Italians have not said their last word. Huh. That's a good question. How did they not end up taking Savoy? Or Corsica? I don't know. But I guess they at least explained how this happened. The Ottomans did not have a fun time, and, I have a little bit of a focus tree. I don't know if it's a big one, but it sure exists. And Greece is just big. Wait, what's this? The Free City of Constantinople? Okay, they just have a generic focus tree. I don't know why that exists. A call to a crusade. Italy and Mexico have never been particularly closely related, but the events of the end of the previous decade made our kingdom much more involved in the other side of the Atlantic. The reason for this was the terrifying activity of the Mexican government, led by Plutarco Calles, which introduced a series of laws aimed at discriminating against and persecuting Christians in the country, with special recognition for Catholics. The news of the executions of priests or the shooting of the faithful going to the church echoed widely in Italy. Before the government of the kingdom had officially responded to the news, many Italians had already begun to organize demonstrations of support in the streets for the Cristeros, the Catholic rebels against the shameful actions of the government. This forced the Italian government to approach the matter more resolutely, and in the face of protests from the British and Americans, it can be said there has been a sudden deterioration in mutual relations between our countries. In turn, the failure of the Washington Conference held last year, it is clear that the conflict will continue to escalate, and the British and Americans are ready to support Calles as long as he controls the oil fields. Okay. Wait a minute. So this guy... Oh, he's a socialist. I was gonna say, how are you persecuting Catholics in a country that's majority Catholic? What are you doing, Herbert? Wait, I just saw how unrealistic this is. The US is in the League of Nations. Oh, I just realized the music ended. All right, everybody, we're starting back from the top. All right, so we finished our first thing. So now we got to decide on what to do. Let's expand North Africa? Oh my god, this is going to murder my political power. Okay, maybe we won't worry about North Africa. But it's the only thing I can do. Okay, well, if we're going to do North Africa, we'll do North Africa. Alright. Well, we got a bonus. Crusade. Divisions required for sending volunteers is down. We got a bit more political power. Little air experience. So I can send volunteers. So how many volunteers could I theoretically send to Mexico? I could send 2. Okay. So we're going to send 2 volunteers to Mexico. I'll send 2 mountaineers. Don't worry, I'm on the way. I got 2 of my best guys. I don't know if I have any planes, though. Oh, I have a ton of planes. Holy shit. I could send 103 planes, so I need fighters. Alright, well, I just lost a ton of manpower. Or political power. Give me those civilian factories, please, God. Can I send 138? Where's Mexico? Here's Mexico. I can send 103. So I'm going to send these fighters over. Don't worry, Mexico. I got 66 fighters on the way. We'll try and get a few of these infantry divisions ready. Oh my gosh. Please just select a thing. Okay, got some civilian factories. I'll get some infrastructure and a ton of oil. What is this mod? Holy crap. Okay, this is going all right. Okay, I've got my mountaineers. Gonna send them over here. All of my research is done, so let's just keep going down the research tree. I might have no political power, but I have so much oil now. Get African highway. Okay, we're pushing this tank back. Spain has already entered a civil war, not 2 minutes in. Oh, I forgot. This game starts in 1930, not 1936, like usual. So this is really early.
Forza, muovetevi! Continuate ad avanzare!
All right. Expansion of the petrochemical industry. I don't mind if I do. Oh my god, we need guns. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to take Durango. I've taken Durango. Gonna get rid of my front line real quick. Think we just reinforce meme that guy? Screw it, we got shipyards too. Our minister humiliates us in liberalism. Okay. One of our ministers, commonly known as an admirer of the values related to liberalism, has recently suffered image defeat, which not only showed our government in a bad light, but also alienated many people from our ideology. Okay. Cool. Gonna retreat this division back. Austrian-Italian diplomatic crisis. The recent events in Trieste undoubtedly contributed to the emergence of a rather embarrassing situation on the Italy-Austria diplomatic line. It should be noted, however, that for many, this crisis is an opportunity to change the current status quo, which remains inconvenient for both sides. The Italians undoubtedly would like to gain full control over Trieste, which is largely inhabited by Italians, while the Austrians would like to regain real access to the sea. Consequently, their ambassadors and ministers of both countries have held several important meetings over the past few days in order to start negotiations on the future shape of the Adriatic border. Okay, we're gonna go visit the Kaiser in Austria. What is this? The Free State of Trieste? Oh, it's under a nuncio. Ugh. And then we own the rest of Dalmatia. Okay. Wave of the crisis is reaching Italy. While the crisis around Trieste seems to be worsening, the economic crisis is Italy and wreaked havoc on the internal market. What? Oh god, there's a panic in 31? Oh god. Our economy just died. Oh my god, my political power. Meeting in Vienna. The talks on the future of Trieste were to be finalized in Vienna during the meeting between the King of Italy, Victor Emmanuel III, and the Kaiser of Austria, Karl. The entire envelope of the event was to show that despite the difficult past relations of both countries, it is possible to establish friendly relations between them, and everything indicated that the King's visit to Vienna would be very fruitful. Fortunately, it was interrupted by an unexpected attack on the Kaiser by a member Imperial Guard. Although the Kaiser himself came out unscathed, unfortunately the same cannot be said about Victor Emmanuel III, accidentally hit with pistol bullets, who died a moment later as a result of the injuries received. The traitor has been overpowered and is now facing a court-martial. It is a tragic day for both nations. Oh my god, my political power. So, I've lost my economy. I have no political power. My leader just died. This sucks. Welp, the tragic death of King Victor Emmanuel III was profoundly shocked Italy. It showed how unstable today's world can be and how conspicuous it will be to change the approach of our state so far. All of this is something that King Umberto II will seems to understand perfectly well. Man, our freaking king died. Long live Umberto II. In view of the tragic death of Victor Emmanuel III as a result of the attack in Vienna, his only son, Umberto, became the new king of Italy. The hurried coronation allowed for a moment to distract the Italians from the drastically deteriorating situation, and the newly crowned king himself, despite his rather scandalous lifestyle, seems to be taking the whole situation very seriously. Currently, the voice of the new king seems to give Italians some hope for a better tomorrow, although at the moment the situation remains hopeless. In the meantime, news also came to Rome about the planned visit of Karl I, who wants to bring the crisis around Trieste to an end at all costs, and also to express his personal condolences to the new king of Italy. In the opinion of the malicious, however, this is nothing more than an attempt to escape from the chaos in Vienna. Alright, we get a little bit of stuff. Gets event, the gay king of Italy. Our king's gay? That's epic. Okay, there's a crisis in Germany. Ooh, I like all these. These are all really cool pop-ups. Black Friday. Entrepreneurs and investors from all over the world have spent nervously the last few days waiting for the further development of events related to the economic crisis spreading throughout Europe. When the news began coming this morning about more and more British companies bankrupting in Germany, panic broke out, angry mob of investors began asking for a return of their money, stock prices began to soar down, and more banks began to close their doors. May 29th, 1931 will be remembered as Black Friday, and the whole event will soon be remembered as Panic 1931. The crisis that began with the bankruptcy of an Austrian bank just led to the collapse of the London Stock Exchange, and soon also the Wall Street and St. Petersburg Stock Exchange will follow. Oh. The gay king of Italy. After the tragic news from Vienna that went around the world, time has come for a little more pleasant one. Well, this morning in Rome, the coronation of the new king, Umberto II, the son of the tragically deceased Victor Emmanuel III, took place. The great military parade organized on this occasion, combined with numerous celebrations, gave the whole event a sublime atmosphere. On the same day in his speech, the new king of Italy announced that need to create a new technocratic government that would allow Italy to overcome the destabilizing factors of the kingdom and return it to the path of development and prosperity. Pietro Badoglio, the hero of the clashes with the rebels in Italy and Libya, was chosen to be the next prime minister. Okay. Don't know what that has to do with me being gay, but understandable. Alright, 'Cause I guess France is no longer following the Treaty of Versailles, whatever that means. Oh, they're socialist. What else do we got? Germans sent an ultimatum to France. Okay. That's Trieste. We already know about that. Meanwhile, in the UK, events have been taking place in the last 2 weeks on European markets. Okay, that's just more of the stock exchange stuff. Okay, so the stock market just died. So a bank in Austria went kaput. And then somehow the entirety of the London Stock Exchange died. And now the economies of everywhere are dying. Especially in Germany. Germany, who had money being given them by France, is demanding money. And the French said no. Okay. Cool. Epic. I also have no more Civ factories. One more French government collapse. Given the chain of the unfortunate events that took place last month, the consequences of which will soon be felt across the world, no one is surprised by the fall of yet another French government led by Edouard Daladier. The reasons for the French Prime Minister's resignation this time, however, are quite specific and are not related to the crisis in France, but to the brave decision taken by the French regarding the German ultimatum. As it turns out, the head of the French government is a pacifist and has not been voted. Had he not been voted down, he would have been. He would have prevented such a course of events. In this way, he announced that he would not be able to continue his role, and he was submitting his resignation to the president. This act of cowardice could be a drop that filled a cup of bitterness. Okay. I guess France is going to explode soon. There goes Al Capone. Meeting in Rome. The meeting that took place in Vienna between King Umberto and Kaiser Karl should be considered very fruitful, for new borders have been established between Italy and Austria, which should at least temporarily settle any border disputes. As part of the new consensus, territories of Zara and Dalmatia will be transferred to the Kingdom of Croatia, while Trieste will be annexed by the Kingdom of Italy. Under these agreements, the Italian fleet has already been dispatched to Trieste to restore order to the troubled city. Unfortunately, due to the turbulent situation in Austria, Karl was forced to leave Rome earlier than expected. Okay, so we gave them Dalmatia, but we get Trieste. I don't know if that's a good thing, but we've got it. Okay. I see that as no problem. It happened. But I get a division out of it, so I'm happy. France pacifist run? True. They're gonna spare all the countries. A new stage in Austro-Italian relations. We are just getting a ton of these. This is gonna be like a multi-part stream. During the rather problematic weeks during which Italy and Austria contributed to the emergence of a new stage in their relationship, which was instrumental in the easing of the border disputes between the two nations. And although there is a crisis in both countries and there are changes of government, the common element is to the effort to maintain friendly relations between the two nations. Time will tell how long this state will last. Crostini! We got some political power, and Austria likes us. But it looks like something happened in Austria. Kaiser Karl continues his rule. The intriguing news comes to us again from Vienna, and according to what we heard from our informants, the failed military coup against the power of Kaiser Karl took place there. The coup was led by a war veteran known in the area of the Habsburg monarchy, Adolf Hitler, who wanted to take power for himself in order to implement his nationalist socialist program aimed at rebuilding the power of the former Austro-Hungary. However, with his putatives smashed by the real forces to the Austrian army, another threat to the Kaiser's rule seems to have passed. Meanwhile, all remain keenly interested in the fate of Trieste. Okay. So, good guy Austria just beat up Hitler. Hopefully they shot him around back. That's really funny that he does show up. He's just there. Just suddenly, Hitler. The Royal Navy is dead, apparently. Something happened with France. Kaiser Wilhelm maintains control. Intriguing news comes to us today from Germany, which after the rejection of the ultimatum by France, fell into an economic and political crisis, all during the absence of Wilhelm II, who went on a planned vacation to Norway. According to our observers, more and more the past week, Germany was to experience terrible chaos, which was used by the Rice Pact to make an unsuccessful attempt to seize power in the state. The army has given Kaiser the country. Okay. So he's in power still. He's in power still. I don't know what's going on with this guy. And their navy just died. It's like, I'm gonna overthrow your government. Oh no. Anyways. Oh shit. Marshal Pétain seized power in France. In view of the difficult first half of the year for the French Republic, combined with the absolute humiliation of the left-wing ruling in this country, what was inevitable, according to experts, has finally happened. Well, in line with yesterday's decision of the National Assembly and with the consent of the president, Marshal Philippe Pétain assumed special powers to allow him to lead the country through this hour of trial without any restrictions. Entrusting such a great authority in the hands of one man is something unheard of in France for a very long time, and testifies to both the size of the crisis they are experiencing and the incredible social trust that the Marshal apparently enjoys. Huh. 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 Okay. Well, my king's dead. That's interesting. I still can't fix the economy yet, please. We could do an agreement with the church, strengthen the poor South, or internal security issues. Let's start by strengthening the South. I think economically that's probably more important. Spaniard royalists plea for help. What's going on in Spain? Oh, that's what's happening in Spain. Disturbing news. We recently came from Spain, which is, as a result of the inept government of their last king, fell into a state of anarchy and civil war. The rumors of destroyed churches, murdered priests, or raped nuns struck the Italian public like lightning, sparking a wave of anti-Republican tensions in our kingdom. Such a state is most likely the reason why Spanish military junta, formerly representing the royalist side of the conflict, decided to ask us for help. Since the average Italian person is willing to see us declare our formal support and our military could use the practice, we don't possess a reason to turn down this plea for help. Okay then. Let me get another troop ready. Alright, I'm on my way. Oh, I can send 5 divisions? Oh shit, give me a tank division in that. I'll get another map. Well then, off we go. Air-wise, we could use some fighters. I've got 72. That's Cass. Where are my fighters? Probably do this. All right. We're going to try and win that. Could I send any more? Yeah, I guess fascist France, right? Well, right now they're reactionary. So I guess they're like authoritarian dem in Kaiserreich terms. Can I send you more volunteers? I can send this guy 2 more volunteers. I'm going to do that. I could really use the guns, but I'll send some more volunteers. Okay, I'm sending more divisions. Oh, never mind. The Mexican government has collapsed. Okay. Calais is banished. Cristeros are victorious. Undoubtedly, the news of the Mexican Civil War made headlines around the world for a long time. Today, however, comes the end of this news. For as a result of heavy fighting, the heroic Cristeros managed to defeat the forces of the tyrant Calais, who was exiled at the last minute by his former associates who signed an armistice with the rebels. The forces, led by Adolfo de la Huerta, thus captured the entire territory of Mexico, and the further course of events will undoubtedly be watched. Okay, we did it. We won. Well, I guess they didn't need my reinforcements after all. I didn't need this. Give me a second. I'm just reorganizing my planes. There you go. All right. Quo vadis? Recent months have made King Umberto II aware that Italy's position is not as stable as it was thought, and that the old European order may soon erode suddenly. Consequently, two geopolitical strategies that Italy could adopt were outlined. The first is to tie Italy's fate with the German Empire, which has been our friend for over the last decades. But many consider it quite a risky strategy because Germany's adventurous policy could put Italy in a situation in which it does not necessarily want to find itself. The second option is to create a new European faction that would be able to oppose the influence of the three great powers, and that would be able to turn the existing balance of the power upside down by joining forces. However, this strategy seems to be even more risky. I think we have a focus tree for this. So we can either do continuing the friendship with Germany. We get trade opportunities, war schools, and some ambitions. Or we can do the tripartite, which is with us, Austria, and France. Thinking Germany? I'm thinking Germany too. We'll try the Austria one another time. So we will live with the German alliance. Italy and the Rice Pact. A new stage in relations between Italy and Germany has been reached. It is time for the world to hear about our united forces. Avanti! Italy joins the Rice Pact. The so-called Triple Alliance was formed at the end of the last century. It seemed that the alliance would be capable of shaking Europe, but as a result of its internal disintegration, it never did. The bone of contention at the time was the lack of agreement, and as a result, the war between Austria and Italy during the Serbian War, as well as the lack of consent from Italy to take part in the war against France. Emotions from this turbulent period seem to be diminishing already, and in the face of the growing Austro-German conflict, an improvement in Italian-German relations is becoming apparent. The crowning achievement of this change in international relations is undoubtedly the news of Italy joining the Rice Pact. So it is me and Germany, though we have good relations with the Austrians. It's a precarious situation we find ourselves in, to say the least. Are my troops here yet? Yeah, here we go. 5 divisions. Here we go. All right. We need to hold the line. There is unrest in the British Isles. Okay, the Brits are not having a fun time. Good to know. Thank you, newspaper. Tragedy in Russia. Death of the heir to the throne, Tsarevich Alexei, the only son of Tsar Nicholas, who himself has not been seen recently. Alexei was joined by George Mikhailovich, who are heading towards Moscow from St. Petersburg. On the way there, tragedy occurs. They swerved off the road, hitting a tree. Oh, that sucks. So, Mr. Nicholas doesn't have an heir to the throne anymore. Silly goose. Holy shit! Political power 200? And we get a ton of research bonus if we get it. But... okay, let me do that real quick, because we get some political power right off the bat. Okay, let's send the tank that way. I just realized the Germans are supporting the Republic. This is kind of awkward. Oh, Tsar Nicholas just died. The Winter Palace was quiet this morning as it was announced that Tsar Nicholas had passed away from his newly revealed lung cancer discovered only a few months prior and kept secret till the very last days in order not to destabilize Russia more. The officials of St. Petersburg announced that the ailing Tsar was surrounded by friends and family until the very end, with the Tsar suffering so much that he had lost the ability to stand anymore. A detail that the people of the palace did not yet know was who would be the next Tsar of Russia. Nicholas had invited Prince Yon Konstantinovich to the palace a month earlier, appointing him as his successor, before he passed. Nicholas uttered the words, "Lord save Russia and bring her peace." So now we have Ion the First. Okay. We might be in a bit of trouble having to fight the US and the Germans here. Let's see, we could do land reform. I'm still trying to fix my stuff. Ooh, we can get civs. We're gonna modernize the South agriculture.
Attento.
New Emperor of Russia. Interesting news comes today once again from Russia. While many over there are still mourning the loss of Tsar Nicholas, who despite his autocratic tendencies managed to greatly expand the Russian Empire. Stop that. The new Tsar has been crowned. Okay, we already saw that. New constitution in the Balkans. Interesting. Let's see. We're the Balkan Federation towards the deteriorating internal situation. Now also the advantage of economic difficulties related to the crisis, has officially changed its name to Yugoslavia. The aforementioned name change is the result of a long-planned action that led to the signing by their king, Alexandra, a new constitution. Okay. They are now Yugoslavia. Understandable.
Formazione. Comandi.
The Navy took power in Japan. Okay. Understandable. That's interesting, because I'm pretty sure the army is usually the one that does that. Alright, let's reach an agreement with the church. Thomas Edison is dead. Conservatives take power in Mexico. Okay. Poles want a colonial empire. What? Poland, I don't mean to be that guy, but, like, you got one port. In these difficult times, it is difficult to find information that could be considered cheerful and cheering up. Luckily, this occasion comes thanks to the Poles. They put down a maritime and colonial league, and in accordance with slogans, will try and even fight if necessary to build a colonial empire by Poland. What? I don't understand Poland anymore, man. Like, what the hell?
Fermatevi.
We're gonna see if maybe we can push somewhere. Oh. Moscow-Belgrade Treaty. News on change of the international chessboard circulate between Yugoslavia and Russia. Okay. Alright, we're now gonna deal with internal security issues. Hello, Super Yummy Boy. Welcome to the stream.
Avanzate.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to push here, but I'd like to at least keep pressure. British Honduras? Where did I miss that on the map? Oh, it's Belize. Just call it Belize.
Pronto all'azione. Avanzate.
All right, they got the conservatives up here in UK. Signature of the Lateran Treaty. Establish a bond of understanding between us and the Pope. Oh my god, that's a lot of political power. I need that.
Attento. Pronto, signore.
Yeah, even with my help, we might not be pushing this. Yeah, I'm gonna pull my planes out. We're just getting blown up.
Sì, signore. Comandi.
I'm a little worried about the situation here, I'm not gonna lie. The world welcomes the Vatican. As a result of the treaty signed with the apostolic authorities, part of Rome will be allocated to the needs of the new state. Okay. See, I can do stuff here. Get a monthly population and consumer goods change. That's not bad. Ooh, we get a research speed buff? Baby, gimme. All right, have a good one.
Forza, forza!
All right, have a good one, young critic. Yeah, we'll probably go to about 12, I'm thinking. We'll make this like a multi-part stream.
Non fermatevi!
Oh, shit. Wait, what the hell? Okay, shit. But have a good night. I'll definitely make sure this is on YouTube, so if you want to follow anything else after, it'll be there. The last weeks were filled of various kinds of reports from Rome, which aroused particularly great interest in the Catholic world, because they concerned the position of the Pope in the Italian state. For those who don't know, the last decades in the history of the Church have been recorded as the period of the so-called Roman question, due to the unresolved legal status of the Pope and the Catholic Church in Italy after the unification of Italy and the annexation of church properties. In this connection, undoubtedly all Catholics can consider it good news that the new King of Italy managed to come to an agreement with the Pope, and they signed the Lateran treaties, which under part of Rome will be set aside as territory of the restored ecclesiastic state, which will be called the Vatican. Interesting news coming from Germany, where due to the latest government decree signed by the Kaiser, the current naval expansion has been completed, aiming at making it arm race at the sea ends. Initiated... Okay. There is a Kriegsmarine now.
Continuate ad avanzare!
There's now a crisis in the oil market. Fun. We'll do the destruction of mafia forces.
Pronto, signore.
It's cool actually having positive political power for once.
Comandi.
Oh my god, we finally got the last research tools. Okay, I'm gonna go research soldier uniforms now. I need my guys to actually be wearing clothes. Third Empire of Mexico. Okay, then. Interesting news from Mexico is circulating today around the world, where as a result of the parliamentary debate on the subject of countries opening to the world after the Civil War, the subject of the state's political system has been raised again. The subsequent debate caught the attention of a wide range of Mexican society, and after approval of the decision by the president himself, ended with a victory for the monarchists. Thus, as agreed, the closest living and uncrowned relative to the Emperor Maximilian, Archduke Maximilian Eugene, was invited to Mexico. The soon-to-be coronation ceremony ushered in the existence of the Third Mexican Empire, which was met with great enthusiasm by Mexicans themselves and a complete opposite reaction in the United States. Why? I don't get it. But okay.
Pronto, signore.
Yeah, I just don't have the... We're just not building things. So I'm not getting, like, any guns.
Pronto, signore. Sì, signore.
I'm just gonna delete these units. I don't have any supply right now to have them, and I kinda need that supply.
Avanzate. Pronto.
Alright, we're slowly getting rid of the mafia, so that's something.
Sì, signore.
Anti-Tsarist conspirators? Okay. Get some mechanical computing. Yay, we finally have uniforms. Oh, we can get sniper rifles. It feels weird not having this stuff right off the bat.
Comandi. Fuoco nemico.
Mexican compensation? The news about the nationalization of Mexico's oil and other... Oh, okay, they nationalized their oil. Understandable. I don't know why we're getting news of all these movies coming out.
Avanzate. Forza, forza.
France joins the Soyuzniks. What? Oh, they're allied. Oh. Oh, that's a big alliance. Wait, why is Ethiopia in this? Okay. The Sublime State of Persia. What the hell happened here? Okay. So that's a very big alliance. We're definitely gonna need Germany's help. Well, on the bright side, I've almost dealt with the mafia.
Forza, forza!
Hold the line. The end of the mafia. Known all over the world is the term mafia, which refers to organized crime groups operating in southern Italy and major cities in the US. The big news in that this connection is undoubtedly that as a result of decisive action by the Italian government and acting at the will of King Umberto, organized crime in Italy has suffered a heavy blow after which it will not recover quickly. All this for the Italian minister Cesare Mori, who personally supervised the mafia eradication using the fire and sword method. The numerous show trials that took place in this regard in Italy attracted great interest from the public, sowing both fear of the Italian justice apparatus and a seed of hope for a more peaceful tomorrow. Alright, now for more land reform.
Avanti!
I need something, man.
Avanzate! Pronto!
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think it was a mistake to send the
Fermatevi!
tank divisions.
Avanzate!
Oh, I have to pay political manpower to send them back. Uh-oh. Oh god, they naval invaded behind me. I'm gonna try and see if we can't hold that. Nope, nope, we cannot hold that. Okay, yeah, this is the end of the Kingdom of Spain. Bedos, new president of France. Okay. Huh. Alright, well now the French are socialist. And the Mexicans joined their super mega alliance. That's scary. Okay, we're gonna start mining. Yeah, we are just gonna be on the retreat until they get to Oviedo. How have these divisions lived this long? Alright, there we go. Yep, that wasn't going well. There's not... Oh, shit. Oh, maybe they just kept hold of that. Never mind. Tempo de decisión. Nah. Now that the early stages of Umberto's power seem to be coming to an end, and the activities carried out under his aegis have contributed to a significant increase in support for monarchy in Italy, it is time to start the most important part of socio-economic reform. But it is necessary to choose a new government, one popular in the eyes of the Italian government. We could go fascist, or we could say conservative. I hate both of them. Can I go communist now?
Comandi! Pronto, signore!
Another success of our ideas. A member of government has recently made many important moves that have made our government popular. Okay. Oh, we're reactionism right now. So I can't stay? Like reactionism, I have to go one or the other? Conservatives led by Father Luigi seem to be a great candidate for the next wave of reforms, which will not only strengthen the monarchy's position in the country, but also contribute to a significant stabilization of the kingdom. Get some stability. Or we go fascist under Balbo. Nationalists seem to be exceptionally interesting political group that has managed to gain support of a larger part of Italian society and the army, and more recently as also King Umberto as part of their support in the fight against mafia organizations. I don't know. I think we're gonna go with the conservatives. Okay, after this, though, I really need to work on the economy. Because I've had no factories for the longest of time. Okay, I'm gonna start building some convoys. So we still have the Spanish Republic. UK is just conservative. Okay, the conservatives won. I'm gonna just start rushing the economy. Times of corporatism. Or we could do restoring the liberal economy. We're gonna do corporatism. Oh, we could just arrest people? Oh, cool. The triumph of the Spanish Republicans. The Spanish forces loyal to the Republican government have begun the process of mopping up the remainder of the monarchist forces. The interim government of the Republican forces announced today the proclamation. Okay, I didn't want to read that anyways. It was all what we knew anyways. Increase control over the central bank? Ooh. Let's start with this. Mixed economic policy. Football issues. The difficult times in which we live may still have its advantages. Our country may host the next World Cup, which would undoubtedly help lift the spirits of our citizens. However, we would first have to spend money on its organization, money which we may not have. I've got the political power for it. Socialism in Spain. Okay, they've got the socialists in charge. Okay, get that. Construct highways or military? I'm gonna work on the central bank first. Okay, we've actually got conservative factories that are working. Roosevelt takes a landslide victory. Okay, he's here. I was worried, but no, we finally got rid of Hoover. We got the guy. Liberalism is growing in strength. Thanks to the successful moves of one of our ministers, we managed to improve the situation in our country. Okay, that's fine. We have conservatism up huge, so it doesn't matter. Matador? Matador. Increasing the role of charitable organizations. That's not bad. Let's see if we can't start researching some medium tanks. I gotta make the Italian medium tank corps real quick. The BBC Empire Service? Okay. Can't do that yet. Okay. Work on the military infrastructure next. I just hate how big this is. Like, why did the British just own all of this? And then you just have Afghanistan. Afghanistan is just straight chilling. I didn't even realize this. Okay, let me just keep working on my economy real quick. Oh, wow. Okay, let me, I don't want to work on light tanks too much. Work on support equipment. Start building some anti-air. And then probably just a bit more guns. And a bit more fighters and casts. I just don't have the rubber right now. But I don't have any factories. I keep losing them. Independence of Manchuria. When the British and the Japanese signed the All-Race Equality Treaty over a decade ago, it was a big surprise to many experts. One of the most important consequences of this event was the special attention paid by the Japanese to Manchuria in order to build a modern state there, worthy of being Japan's partner in the Far East and their ally for the coming century. Many experts, despite the beautiful declarations of the Japanese, doubted their sincerity at the time, but in the end came today. While in the Great Conference in Dalian, with the simultaneous president of Hirohito and Puyi, the Independence Act of the Qing Empire was signed, officially ending the period of being a protectorate of Japan. Interesting. So they're just chilling? Huh. Commonwealth of Nations. Wait, is Japan in that too? Huh. Alright, there's our second big alliance. The Commonwealth of Nations. Right, we got some railroad highways. We can finally do some budget reforms. Maybe then I'll actually have some freaking factories. Okay, it looks like I don't actually need to build uniforms. It's just like I guess just a basic buff that I'll just have for a while. Just for all of my units. Okay, we're gonna try and start working on medium tanks. Still don't have the resources for any of this. Interesting. L'era della bella economia. Oh, we're finally gonna remove the Panic of 31. 2 years later. That's good. Yeah, that's been, like, murdering my economy. Has anyone else been dealing with it for this long? I don't think so. I think I've been the only one still holding on to this stupid thing. The German eagle raises its head again. Interesting. Alright. Maybe the British. The British are probably still feeling it. Oh, do I have an economy now? Oh, our economy's roaring. Let's go. Tourist boom. Ooh, that gives us minus consumer factories. Okay, we are going. Can finally start trading for rubber. Unfortunately, there is no rubber in the world, apparently. Alright, we are starting to work. Alright. Bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum, ba-da, ba-da, bum. Alright, we've got a tourist boom. We're gonna start getting some resources. It's time to meet the future with Rice Pact Technology Sharing Group. Okay. And economic alternatives. Well, that sounds good. Thanks to Keena's School of Economics, we have gathered enough materials to improve some... Oh. Nice. We'll boost our civilian economy. Economics, we could hire a railroad company. Use foreign things. Foreign scientists. Non-radical policy. No, we're not going to worry about that. Just making sure my equipment's all up to date, I guess. This is interesting. Anti-Germanic moods in Poland. Well, they are a part of that big alliance, so that's a little scary. Get the next gun. Every cloud? One of our ministers failed in the eyes of the public recently. Okay. Gotcha. I don't know. Netherlands has joined the Rice Pact. Okay, so we have a new friend. I wish we could get Austria in the faction. Or Switzerland. Because then we'd actually have a connected border. Because right now we are very separated. Like, if we end up at war with Austria... Oh, we've got Romania. This alliance is awful. Cooperation with the oil industry will give us some more oil. Yeah, because right now we are completely separate, and this is awful. Ah, man, Germany, thank you for getting Argentina. I very much wanted Argentina in our group. Like, I would be so... Just doesn't stop coming. We got Venezuela. It's over. This is so silly. Germany, what are you doing? You gonna tell me? Great moves of a grand army. Okay. Yeah, I'm a bit scared. Like, oh wait, we got Sweden as well. We got Sweden, Denmark. Maybe we can get Norway, then I'll feel a little more comfortable. Because they at least still have a front. Austrians join the Commonwealth of Nations. This alliance is gross. It makes no sense. Like, this makes no sense. Like, Britain isn't gonna come all the way down to Austria to go help them. There's no way they could get there in time. They wouldn't be able to support them with a navy. But okay, Austria, you do you. I'm gonna increase the educational budget. But, like, this still scares me. Doing settling stuff over here. Oh my god, Tibet's owned by the British. Oh, they just removed Bhutan. They just don't exist. Just gonna quickly get the rest of these improvements. I'm confused. If we have Qing... wait. If we have Qing China, then like... Oh, I just realized the Empire of China is in the Rice Pact. But then, like, who are you? Are you just under a different guy? What is this? I don't think it matters. They don't have a thing. This is still only in the 1.0 stage, so there's going to be a lot that's different or, like, not in yet. It's just something to keep in mind. You can strengthen social welfare. That doesn't sound like conservatism. Yeah, because it looks like the Republic also doesn't have a focus tree. Qing, China also does not have one. So China will probably be coming in a later update. But Japan has a focus tree. Okay. Let us then try and finish this. I think once we finish this side of the tree, I'm gonna save, and then we'll come back to this later. I'm hoping tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. We'll definitely stream something tomorrow, hopefully. But I think this is definitely gonna be a multi-part kind of thing. Because this is about an hour in. If I'm lucky, I can make everything like an hour each when I start posting it. Okay, depoliticization of the army. The research slot? Ooh, gimme, gimme. Yo, I got a 5th research slot by hitting a button. Oh, does this only go to 42? Interesting. So they, like, truncated everything. I guess they're expecting the war to happen earlier. That's kind of scary, honestly. But that does make sense. Like, Kaiserreich's kind of beholden to it just because it technically, like, it tries to maintain it. But if this game starts earlier, you could, and doesn't have a First World War to build on, you could totally have that pop earlier. Never really thought of it like that. That makes sense. And I just like how I'm on, oh wait, I'm on obligatory army service. Okay, I was gonna say, I have 5 million manpower, how? But I guess that makes sense. Totalen Krieg. He's just scrapping the barrel. There is no such thing as a civilian anymore. It's only another recruit for military industry. Our society has to accept all budget cuts in order to maintain military effort rolling. Counting costs doesn't matter anymore. Jeez. Alright, well, that's outside of the focus tree done. So I could continue down this part. Wait, did I not do this yet? No, I did this side. So we could work on our alliance more. I could reform the army. That's probably important. So, yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to with this. Let's see. I thought I fought it back. I thought I did it. It came back with a vengeance. I'm trying to see, like, what's going to be, like, the straw that breaks the camel's back here. Like, I don't see what it could be. Oh, here it is. Wait. No, this is just army stuff. I realized I didn't comment on this. It's Poland, Lithuania. It's just really tiny. Maybe something else along the way will flare up. Maybe it's like an event or something. But that'll be something we explore next time then. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the Deltarune music in the background. It's been very nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna end this here. Thank Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see something on YouTube, we did have a video technically yesterday, but today. It was a new episode of Tales of Berseria, which can be found...